Here's another social studies question. This one has a reading and a graph. There are 2 questions for this particular problem. And before you do any reading, check the questions. Do you have to read? Which of the following conclusions is supported by the passage? We're probably going to have to read. According to the graph, graph. This is a graph only question. This is a reading. So check your answers before you go up to read. So Whitney invented cotton gin, reduced slavery. Cotton gin, little impact. Invention of cotton gin, found they needed fewer slaves. Effects of cotton gin led to an increased demand for slaves. Okay, so we're gonna have to read because these 2 are absolute opposites. And these 2 sound pretty good, given that machinery tends to beat human labor. All right, we're gonna read. The invention of the cotton gin by Eli Whitney in 1784 revolutionized the cotton industry in the American South. The separation of the cotton seeds and fiber, once a painstaking task that slaves performed by hand, could now be done quickly by machine. This made cotton goods more affordable, thereby increasing international demand for these goods and consequently the profits of cotton farmers. Ironically, however, the cotton gin did not reduce the South's reliance on slavery. In fact, with the boom of the cotton industry, more slaves were used to pick the cotton at a faster rate to keep up with the increasing demand. All right, so I know what the answer is already. And I'll tell you right here, did not reduce, more slaves. There's only one answer that fits this. That's D. The effects of the cotton gin on the cotton industry actually led to an increased demand for slaves in the South. Now let's take a look at this bar graph question. According to the graph, approximately how much greater was the increase in the number of cotton bales produced between 1840 and 1860 than the increase in the number of slaves during that same interval? We have to figure out 2 things in order to figure out an answer. So we're going to need to compare the number of slaves between 1840 and 1860 and the number of cotton bales between 1840 and 1860, and then do another quick calculation. So let's come up here and look at the graph. All right, we're only dealing with these 2 subsets. Here in 1840, it looks like we had 2.5 million. We jump up to 1860, we've got probably 4 million because it's just higher than 3 3/4. So let's go 4, and we're just going to subtract. That's 1860, that's 1840. What's the difference? That would be carry the 1, that's going to be 5, that's going to be 1. So a 1.5 difference in slaves over that 20-year period. It was a 1.5 million increase in the number of slaves. So we're going to look at cotton bales. We've got 1.25. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to subtract the lower number from the higher. So coming up here, we've got probably 4.75. It's not quite 5 million. Let's do 4.75, subtract. Okay, you're not done. Now you know the difference in the cotton and you know the difference in the slaves. Now they want to know what's the difference between the cotton and the slaves. Take cotton, which is the bigger number, subtract the slaves, which is the smaller number, and 2. Let's come back and look at our answers. No, no, yes, right there, 2 million. And one of the things I did, and you will get comfortable with this as you get more comfortable with numbers, break the numbers down. This is why it's good to know decimals, because you've heard people say 1.5 million, it means 1,500,000. But it's a whole lot easier to say 1.5 million, right? So that's how you do that. You have to find out both of these, then you have to subtract one from the other. That gets you your answer.